Welcome, everyone. Today, we are unpacking one of the absolute most talked about, debated, and frankly, completely misunderstood business models on the internet right now. In this explainer, we're cutting straight through all that social media hype to bring you a clean, structured, step-by-step breakdown of dropshipping. We're going to look at how this engine actually runs under the hood. It really all starts with one fundamental question. Can you actually build a profitable online store without ever touching a single piece of inventory? I mean, it sounds like a total gimmick, right? But the answer changes absolutely everything about how we view traditional retail because it literally removes the need for some dusty back room packed to the ceiling with boxes. And that brings us right to the core definition. Dropshipping is simply a business model where you act as the storefront and the marketer, and a third-party supplier acts as the warehouse and the shipper. So, you create the store, you list their products as your own, and you set your own price. You are essentially the digital face of the brand, not the warehouse worker furiously packing boxes with tape. To make this crystal clear, here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, what dropshipping actually is. Second, the 6 steps to profit. Third, where you add value. Fourth, the real pros and cons. And finally, the numbers that matter. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, what dropshipping actually is. Think of it like a split operation. On the front end, we have you, the storefront. Your job is to set the retail price, handle all the marketing, and act as the complete face of the transaction. Then on the back end, we have your supplier, the warehouse. They offer you a wholesale price and they physically pick, pack, and ship the orders. But here is the absolutely crucial part. They ship blindly. That means they use neutral packaging, so you remain completely invisible to the end buyer. Section 2, 6 steps to profit. Let's look at the literal life cycle of a transaction here to ground this in reality. Step 1, you pick a niche and products with solid demand, like maybe posture correctors or fitness gear. Step 2, build your store using platforms like Shopify or Wix. Step 3 is where the magic happens. A customer visits your store and pays you the full retail price. Notice this, you still haven't bought any inventory yet. It's only after you get paid that you move to step 4, forwarding that order to your supplier and paying them the wholesale price. Step 5, the supplier ships it directly to your customer. And step 6, you get to keep that remaining profit margin. Moving to section 3, where you add value. Because we need to dispel a massive internet myth right now. The idea that dropshippers just sit back on a beach while money rolls in is totally false. Because you don't touch the physical product, your entire job is the customer experience. This is your invisible labor. You have to actively research those demand-heavy niches. You have to design a genuinely trustworthy, conversion-optimized storefront and write vastly superior descriptions than those generic, boring supplier catalogs. Plus, you've got to drive targeted traffic through ads and SEO. And perhaps most importantly, you provide the customer service and handle any refunds. The better you are at this branding piece, the higher you can price your items. Section 4, the real pros and cons. It's time for a quick reality check here. If the setup is so incredibly easy and the upfront costs are so low, why doesn't absolutely everyone do it? It's a critical question that cuts straight through all that industry hype we see flooding our feeds. The answer, of course, lies in the friction. Yes, the upsides are incredibly attractive. You've got low upfront costs, an easy setup that requires zero coding skills, and the flexibility to test products rapidly. But the trade-offs, they're very real. You're going to face lower margins compared to owning your own inventory. You have significantly less control over shipping times and product quality. And remember, if the supplier messes up, that customer is complaining directly to you. Plus, the low barrier to entry means you are facing fierce, heavy competition right out of the gate. Because of those heavy downsides, the most successful sellers usually don't view dropshipping as their final destination. The real long-term play here is to use it merely as a testing ground. Think of it as a low-risk lab to find winning products. Once you know it sells consistently, you graduate those specific products into a private label or an inventory-based model. That's how you eventually secure much better profit margins and total quality control. Finally, Section 5, the numbers that matter. Because at the end of the day, stark mathematics dictate whether your store survives or dies. If you want to know the typical profit margin reality for a standard dropshipping setup, it's usually hovering around 10 to 30%. That number is highly dependent on your specific niche, what your supplier is charging you, and heavily dependent on your advertising costs. So yeah, it's a notoriously thin margin. And because of that razor-thin margin, you have to watch your metrics like a hawk. These 5 specific metrics are basically your dashboard for survival. First, you've got product margin, your retail price minus those supplier costs and fees. Second is your conversion rate, the percentage of your store visitors who actually open their wallets and buy. Third is CPA, or cost per acquisition, exactly how much ad spend is required to get one single sale. Fourth is average order value, the average amount your customers spend per checkout. And finally, the refund rate, the percentage of bad orders that eat directly into your hard-earned profits. All of this math really boils down to one golden rule. Your customer lifetime value, or LTV, absolutely must be greater than your cost per acquisition, your CPA. You have to design a system where the total amount a customer spends with you over time is much higher than what it costs to get them to your site in the first place. So the provocative question I will leave you with today is this. Knowing the stark math and the intense invisible labor required, do you have the marketing skills to make your LTV beat your CPA? Keep crunching those numbers and I'll catch you in the next explainer.